Hello and welcome to the Violet Sanctuary Spa, your online holistic spa on the YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about a topic that comes up fairly often when I talk about anything spiritual. And the question is, how do I know if I'm on the right spiritual path? Now this is a very good question because you can't compare yourself to other people's spiritual paths. However, what you can do is critique your own spiritual path. So with that being said, I just like to bring up four what I like to call know-me's, because this is how you can know that you're on the right path. And this is just based on experiences I have come across, and also just people with whom I talked with about the process, or like I said earlier, the know-me's of a spiritual path. So the first knowing is, are signs. When I first started reading spiritual books and opening my mind even more to the spiritual world, the first sign I came across were it's called a wish. It's actually a dandelion, but if you type in wish flower in Google, you'll see the flower I'm talking about. And basically what it is it's something that you can make a wish with. For example, you can just take the flower, just blow it like this, and it'll just go all over the place. Or you can catch one. Sometimes you might see one flying around. You'll catch one, you just make a wish, and then you release it again. So that's something that I was seeing constantly when I was reading spiritual books. Like when I first began to read spiritual books, that's what I saw almost all the time when I went outside. And at the time I didn't know what it meant. I didn't even think about a meaning behind it. I just thought to myself, oh, I get to make a lot of wishes, so that was really cool. But as I began to read more books, there was actually a list of signs from spirit, and that dandelion was one of the signs, and it basically just means that you are seeing behind the veil. And that was actually true, because I was beginning to see behind the veil even more, because when I was a kid, whatever something spiritual happened to me, whether I say it was a premonition or something like that, I never really took notice of it. I didn't really talk about it. I just thought it was something that just happened to people, and that was that. But after reading books, I found out that it is actually a gift and something that needs to be practiced, worked on, so that way you can work to your fullest potential. So just pay attention to the physical signs you see. You might see numbers. You might see 444, 111, 333, 1313, 1212, 1111, whatever. Make sure that you take note of these things. Another one could be dreams. You can have a dream of something. For example, I had a dream not too long after my grandmother passed, and she came in my dream. She said, "Spirit has something to show you." And that was the beginning of a dream to signify that, hey, things are starting to move a little bit faster on a spiritual journey. The spirit is actually communicating to you even more than what you realize. So definitely take all of that into consideration. Also pay attention to happenings. For example, you are going through a difficult time, and you're a bit lost, and spiritually a little bit lost, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. And you just hear people talking about something. Say someone's talking about meditating or doing yoga, and then you see a commercial on TV about this new service being offered at the gym, and it's yoga or Pilates or whatever else. So pay attention to happening. It's not a coincidence. It's signs from spirit, signs, messages, all that stuff, just communicating to you what to do. So I would say that was the first knowing on the list, because the signs will lead you somewhere. When you're driving, you pay attention. Okay, interstate, whatever number, turn right at this street. So you look for signs to get you to where you need to be. So again, signs would be the first knowing. The second knowing would be feeling different. I noticed that from before I was reading spiritual books, while I was reading spiritual books, and finding out oracle cards and finding out about like just a bunch of other stuff, and then where I'm at now, I noticed that I am not the same person from beginning, from even before beginning to beginning the process, and I'm still along the process, but I'm more advanced now than I was when I first started. So you will feel different. You will notice that you don't hang around the same people, you don't have the same interests, you might even like the same foods. So take notice to what's different about you. And this isn't something like, oh, I didn't like that shirt, I threw it away. No, you as a whole will be different. My best friend once joked to me. She said, yeah, you changed a lot. You could look at pictures from Facebook then and now, and she made another comment, and I said something like, oh yeah, those pictures are gone because they no longer represent me. And she said, yeah, I know. And I said, yeah, I untag myself or just leave the pictures altogether, because that's no longer me. I don't want to constantly go back in the past and look at things like, oh yeah, that was me back then, and then along the way. I like to see me in the present. There's nothing wrong with having older pictures, but I want everything to represent who I am now. So when you're doing things, think about how you want to represent yourself now, because you will have changed. There will be things in you that just no longer needs to be in your life. Not saying that it wasn't important, because it definitely was for the time that it was there, but now it's going to be something new to you. So you want to reflect that even in your house. It might be something like your ex lover gave you I don't know, a table or something, a picture, but you're no longer with the spouse, so it's like, why bother having it, because it's representation of something that was you in the past, not you now. So you may want to get rid of it, because again, it doesn't represent you as a whole. So be aware of how you change and how you feel and what you're doing and what you're gonna do. That's a real biggie, because again, when you go through transition, some things will not stick with you through the transition. And some things, even while you're transitioning, there may be something that just takes place. You might meet a person who you might be friends with for a couple of months, and during those months of your transition, they're needed because you had to realize something about yourself that you weren't picking up. So you come across these certain group of people who literally shows you that part of you, and then you can realize, oh, you know what, I don't like that crowd anymore, I don't like them, and then you can really cut the cords and move on to the next level spiritual wise. So think about how you feel, how you want to portray yourself, how do you want yourself as a whole to look, feel, etc. Next thing would be remembering who you are. Now this is I think this is so big, because it's one of those things where you can do all the stuff you're supposed to do. You can meditate, you go out in nature, you can talk to people and help people and help yourself, and love people and love yourself. But when you actually remember who you are, you get to do this so much more. It's like remembering something about you, say, or remembering a talent, like, hey, that's right, I did know how to play the violin, but I gave it up when I was a teenager, but I think I'm gonna do that again, because that was a really cool part of me, or a part of my life, and I have talent there. I can really do something with that talent. Well, when I say remember who you are, what I mean is try doing a past life regression. Try to see who you were in the past. Like, take note of what's around you. For example, if you like a lot of stuff that's Egyptian, if you like to study dynasties, like and you're interested in the Great Wall of China, and the dragon is part of your power animal. And I talked about power animals in a radio show, and another. Let's see. Let's say you're interested in goddesses and gods and stuff like that. Take note of what you like and what you don't like. This is a clue to who you could have been in a past life, and how that's reflected on you in this life. So when you remember who you are, you can apply that throughout your daily life, and then you can add it to your transitioning, and you can add it to the signs. For example, if you are big on Egyptian studies, you like to just watch on various channels about the different pharaohs and queens, and architecture and technology about the Egyptians, you could have been a pharaoh or a queen or royalty or whatever, astrologer, whatever. So your signs could be from spirit. I believe they call it an Ankh or Ankh. Correct me if I pronounced that wrong. The sign of life that Isis holds. You could receive hieroglyphics. You might get a vision of hieroglyphics as a sign from spirit that you're on the right path. So the signs, what I'm saying is that the signs that you receive are going to be tailored for you, so that way you can acknowledge those signs. Or if you're more in Celtic history and you study the goddesses like Bridget and gods and you follow fairies and leprechauns and things like that, you might receive signs like the rainbow. You know, you might receive signs like a clover. You might receive signs like a certain pattern. You might see just associations with Celtic heritage or leprechauns or fairies. So you might see nature. You might see the color green a lot. So just think about what you like, and then you can figure out what the signs are for you, what the meanings are for you, and then you can really help remember who you are, and you can travel on in your journey. Also, with the radio show I'm going to have coming up is talking about different earth angel realms. And this is to help you remember who you are. Like I was saying earlier with the leprechauns and associated with the rainbow and green, if you take Doreen Virtue's test, or quiz, and you figure out that you are a hybrid, which is a combination of different realms. Well, one of the hybrids stated in the book is being a leprechaun. So if you have associations with the leprechauns, you love leprechauns, and you're always outside, stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. Like if you remember sort of like where you're from, you get to understand where you're going to go. So remembering who you are is very key to this when you're on your spiritual journey. So if you remember who you are, you're getting hints of who you are, remembering who you are, you're on the right track. You see what I'm saying? So remembering who you are, then also feeling different going along the way, and then picking up on signs. So you see what I made signs first, then feeling different second, and then remember who you are third, because you're going to find these signs. Then you're going to feel different, because you're on the right track, feeling things. You're going to feel differently. You're going to show yourself as a different person, and then you're going to remember who you are. So you're really going to step into yourself, whether that means you're going to be focusing on angels, you're from the angelic realm, you had a past life somewhere. You're really going to just really dive into yourself. And here. Then the final piece is really just seeing things all together. So everything's coming together now. You're following the signs. You're getting that feeling you're on the right track. Your internal GPS is leading you somewhere. You're remembering who you are, so you can apply the signs and messages you're receiving to everyday life to help you and others. And now you're starting to see everything come together. So if you're experiencing all these, you are definitely on the right path. And this isn't all inclusive. Like if you're experiencing more, then of course, that's also, this is just things that I have come across that I noticed that helps me to know that I'm on the right track. Some people may say, well, what about deja vu? I read somewhere that means that you're remembering the map that you laid out for yourself. Well, yeah, that could very well be something else. This is just based on what I have come across during my experiences. So again, signs, pay attention to what you're receiving. It's not a coincidence. You're seeing numbers, you're hearing things, you hear people talk about a certain topic. I give you an example. I had promised my brother to take him clothes shopping. We didn't know where we wanted to go. We went to Macy's. We didn't really see anything there. So I said, okay, we will go to the outlets down Atlantic City. And but he suggested King of Prussia. And I said, well, I don't know. I really feel like doing that. I wouldn't mind going down to AC. Well, couple of days later, I'm talking with a coworker, and I admired her earrings. I said, your earrings were very beautiful. You accessorized really well. She said, thank you. I got these earrings from a store in King of Prussia. So there you have it. Pay attention to the signs. So needless to say, I'm taking my brother to King of Prussia for a shopping spree. So pay attention to these signs. They'll let you know, and even though it doesn't have anything to do with my spiritual journey, noticing signs lets me know that I'm following my intuition, that I am following what I am supposed to be doing, that I am acknowledging my spiritual gifts. Thus, it's going to get more and more powerful. When you neglect something, it's not helping it. It's gonna not, I don't want to say go away, but it won't be as strong. And then you're going to feel differently. Every time I follow my intuition, I feel better. I feel like that's what I was supposed to do. It just felt right. And then by doing this, I can remember who I am. I am a very powerful spiritual person, who's involved with healing, the other stuff. I have done past life regressions where I am associated with different civilizations over time, etc. And then I do feel like things are coming to a halt. I'm still on the learning path. It's just a different stage of learning path. So things are coming home, but it is never ending. So I hope those 4 knowings were helpful to you. Definitely post your comments. Let me know your spiritual journey. And you can always come and join the Facebook community and let me know there, where I post daily inspirations and notes and all that good spiritual stuff. So thanks for tuning in. You have a wonderful holistic day.